This all started when a listener, Kristoffer, messaged me that he knew someone who had communication with angels, deities, and other worldly entities. There was also mention of reptilians in the astral plane, so I guess I was hooked. Tonight we will be talking with Chris. She talks about her journey into discovering her sensitivity, her path to discovering the goddess, and of course, the Anunnaki. Enjoy. Just a note, there will be certain portions of the conversation na medyo magiging choppy si Chris because I guess of the internet connection, but I chose to leave it in for reasons that I will discuss towards the end of the interview. Today, meron tayong guest na ni-refer actually sa atin ng isang listener, and nung ni-refer niya, parang alam niya yung magugustuhan kong marinig kasi merong mention of communication with, let's say, extraterrestrial or let's say other dimensional beings. Pero yun nga, we can go there later. We don't have to skip to that portion yet. Pero our guest today is Chris. So hello Chris, good morning, good morning. Yun nga, may nag-introduce sa akin sa'yo na isang listener, and ang sabi niya, yun nga, yung mga experience mo, sabi niya, direct, magugustuhan mo yung experiences and stories niya. Pero can you tell us about yourself, your practice, and then after that we can go to how it all began for you.
Okay. So, hi, Nick. Hi
Hello.
to everyone who's listening to this podcast. My name is Chris, and I'm a tarot reader. I'm also a spiritual healer and worker. I would consider myself a channel of the goddess because since I started my path, that's always been parang the center of my practice. It's like the central figure of my practice, which is the goddess or the divine feminine. And I also work with angels and also I must say na I've been having communication also with other extraterrestrial beings, specifically talaga the Anunnaki.
Yes. So how did it begin? Let's say, kasi usually I like to go back to the earliest memory na you had where you felt na, okay, I'm experiencing things that other people aren't experiencing. At what age did it start for you?
Actually, it was really late for me. I was around 31
Okay.
years old. But when I was young, I would pretend na to read cards. Ginagamit ko mga playing cards to my
Okay.
friends.
Oo.
Tapos nagpe-predict ako ng future nila. But the real spiritual awakening really happened in my early 30s.
Okay.
Around 31 years old. I remember my brother, when he came home, meron siyang libro ni Paulo Coelho.
Okay, yes.
And the title of the book was The Witch of Portobello.
Okay.
So my brother actually bought the book for himself. And then when he got home, he kind of lost interest. Sabi niya, oh, Manangging, because Manang is like ate, di ba?
Yes.
Like Manangging, the book that I want you to read, I think you will like it. So that night, I really read the book and I realized, oh my God, the character Athena, she's like parang adopted siya in the story. And growing up, parang she's always yearned for her true mother, yung kanyang
Yes.
ano talaga, yung real mom niya. And she's always experienced sadness, loneliness, feeling of being unloved. And through mystical experiences and study of the esoteric, she
Yes.
found herself. Parang through mystical experiences, she learned to fill the empty spaces na nararamdaman niya. And I said, I like her. I like this start, yung aking awakening.
Yes.
And a week after that, I met this girl named M, and she was a tarot reader. At the beginning, I didn't know that she was. And then yon, on that day, parang she pretended to be our teacher. Nagdala siya ng cards, and she asked us for parang who can identify or who can describe this card. And I saw that image. I remember it was the Eight of Swords. Parang nagkaroon ako ng how do you call it? Parang in my third eye, parang strong, vivid image of that card.
Okay.
So I told her, what am I feeling? I'm so drawn to the cards. Sorry if I'm taking so long.
Okay, it's okay, it's okay. Go lang, go lang. Oh.
So you take it with you and then return it to me when I'm done. So that's how my spiritual awakening started, actually through the tarot.
Okay. So when that card parang had an effect on you, ako I try to understand rin yung experiences ng other people. Usually, hindi mo palagi. Pero sometimes, merong inciting incident, parang ganon. There's something that happens in their life for them to start experiencing these things. Not always, but sometimes for the later generation, yung parang later in life na nangyayari, was there something in your life that happened that for you to start parang to embrace your spirituality? Meron mga ganun? Or nag-assume lang akong meron?
Actually, growing up, I
Okay.
was raised in a very strict Christian upbringing.
Yes.
So I'm not here to, to question other faiths. I'm
Yes.
just speaking based from my own
Yes.
experience and how I feel about it. So in church, I would feel that connection, but there's always something missing in me. Parang when the choir would sing, like I would feel, parang alam mo yung feeling of bliss na wow, all of my senses will be awakened, yung hearing ko, I can really feel that energy. But I knew there was something lacking in my
Okay.
practice. And growing up, parang I was searching for that. Na parang I'm in church, but I can't seem to identify myself fully to it just yet. I'm yearning for something more knowledge, more understanding. Like I couldn't make sense of the teachings. So that really kind of drove me to that path to really understand myself and to understand the nature of spirit of God.
Yes. So during that time at 31 years old, what came first? Parang in terms of let's say the clairs or the sensitivity, was it seeing, hearing, knowing, or
I think
sensing?
it was seeing. Kasi I had lucid dreams whenever I would meditate, very powerful visions. I would experience out of body experiences the moment I started to embrace it.
Okay,
Kasi at the
okay.
beginning, medyo takot ako
Yes,
because we're used to believing certain things. We've been programmed to fear these things that we don't know.
yes.
So growing up, I mean, what I mean is, nung nag-awaken ako, parang there was hesitation first. Parang nagkaroon ako ng intense fear. But the moment I realized, why am I fearing it? Like, why should I just embrace it? And learn to understand that everything is interconnected anyway. So the moment yung guilt nawala, the fear nawala, the mental slavery parang nawala din sa mind ko, and I started facing everything, and that's when everything started pouring in. All the experiences happened very intensely sa akin in my spiritual practice.
So I guess ang napansin ko with some sensitives, which makes sense now na, who get this experience earlier in life, meron silang sort of depression.
That's true.
So feeling ko, if it comes to you later in life, you are more capable to deal with the intense with the intense experience. Kasi again, I'm not sure baka hindi pa nakakwento, pero hindi ko alam ano yung intense experience na suddenly you're seeing things, suddenly you're hearing things, suddenly you're feeling them around you, smelling them. So parang for a younger person, feeling ko yung emotion, yun medyo mahirap i-deal with it. Especially if hindi ka secure enough to know na i-judge ka ng ibang tao eh. So for you, yun. So ganun ba nangyari? Paano yung pour of experiences yun?
Yes, I was actually diagnosed with depression
Okay.
at the beginning.
Okay.
But before the diagnosis, before the medical diagnosis, I remember I was in a room and I felt like crying for no reason. So meron akong friends before, mga Facebook pa, may mga taong mga awakened din that
Yes,
I would
yes.
talk to.
Oo.
So I had this friend, si Katarina. She's from Germany. And then that night, I messaged her. I said, Kath, why do I feel this way? Na nalulungkot ako for no reason. Parang gusto kong umiyak. And then she told me, why don't you paint it out? Yung i-paint mo lang yung feelings mo,
Yes.
yung
Oo.
nararamdaman mo. And I said, but I don't know how to paint. Sabi niya, no, just let it be. Don't think na it has to be perfect. Just paint whatever comes out. Yan yung nasa subconscious mo. And then I remembered I was doodling, I started painting, drawing. And then suddenly, na-realize ko all the paintings that I was drawing, feminine figure siya.
Okay, okay. Mm-mm.
So, nung nakita ko yung mga images na yon, parang something awakened in me. Like parang merong nag-spark na idea na what if God is a female?
Mm-mm.
Like pumunta yun talaga sa mind. And I started crying that I couldn't explain. And then I realized later on in my practice that maybe in one of my past lives, I already knew that, that truth.
Okay.
And it came to me through that realization, through that experience. So I began to started remembering. So parang that was really one of the most important turning point in my spiritual awakening.
Okay. So when you started painting, so I guess parang yun nga, nalalabas mo emotions. Were there other things that you started to experience? Something new, something novel?
Yeah, I was diagnosed with medical depression.
Okay.
So I would see like different entities, like very scary visions. Kasi you were still at very low vibration eh.
Yes, yes. Oo.
That's why yun yung na-realize ko, when you vibrating low, na-attract mo rin yung mga negative entities. But the moment you learn, to change your vibration and vibrate more at a higher frequency, that's when you start communicating to angels, deities, goddesses, higher beings. So that time, I couldn't make out of my experience. But I did some research and then sabi ko, did you know that in Africa, whenever someone experiences the symptoms, they don't take them to doctors. They don't take them to, alam mo yun, sa mga painumin ng mga medications, but they were taken actually to a shaman. And that's when they start their shamanic learning and teachings. Kasi the person daw that experiences depression and these mental conditions, they have the power to tap into both states of consciousness. They can access two worlds. Diba? Yung mga nakikita natin ng mga people call them crazy or mga medically na mga people, mga loonies, mga lunatics, diba they could see things.
Yes.
But they're not grounded. That's why, hindi nila ma-explain what they are seeing in a sense that other people could understand, comprehend.
Yes. Yan nga ang magagalit sa akin ng mga medical professional. Pero that's one of my, again, this is just a theory na I've mentioned it before na when I look through the parang symptoms of a schizophrenic person, minsan para siyang symptoms ng isang tao who has become awakened with the spiritual world. Seeing things, hearing things, talking to people who or entities who are not there. Parang ganun eh. I mean, breakdown ko na yan. Sana hindi sila mainis sa akin. Pero again, that is one of my theories. And minsan may mga tinatanong ako, sabi nila, feeling nila, yes, there are conditions na ganun. Pero minsan, may ilang tao rin talaga na nasa loony bin na baka totoong psychic. Pero yun lang nga, hindi nila alam paano to deal with it.
Yes.
Kasi that's one thing eh. If you have not been exposed to the hundreds or thousands of books about spirituality, you will not realize na, meron pala talaga. Hindi pala ako nasisiraan ng ulo. Baka meron talaga ako naririnig at nakikita. So, for you, I mean, babalik ko lang sa list of questions ko, sorry. You mentioned that you started having out-of-body experiences and lucid dreams. So, when it happened to you, were you aware that it was an out-of-body experience or a lucid dream? Kasi
Yes.
Preface ko lang. Kasi for some people, again, I get into contact with listeners who are maybe, let's say, 18 to, let's say, 20 years old or 28 or younger than 30. And sometimes, hindi nila ako rin, hindi ko naman ma-distinguish, hindi nila ma-distinguish kung was it a dream or was it something, an out-of-body experience na astral travel na siya. So, what happened? Paanong nag-experience mo with that?
Well, one thing na alam mo na nag-astral travel ka or naglu-lucid dream ka because you have the ability to control it.
Okay.
You have the ability to decide kung anong itanong mo, anong gagawin mo in that dream state. Oh, because I remember one of my most powerful out-of-body experiences was actually with the Archangel Metatron. So to those who don't know Metatron, he's actually the Holy Scribe. You know, he's the one who knows all the secrets of the universe. He's actually like the second hand of God. So si Metatron is not very common in the Catholic or Christian belief system. He's more into Judaism, Jewish Gnosticism na figure. So I had this powerful out-of-body experience. Naalala ko, I was meditating. When I meditate, I focus on my third eye chakra.
Yes.
And then I would start to see colors the moment you visualize that
Yes.
in your meditation. Parang I got hit by many colorful lights and I could hear voices saying, Mikael. And then I would be hit by the light, Gabriel. And then I would get hit again. And then Uriel, Rafael. And then suddenly, the word, parang booming voice, ang sabi, Metatron is always first. And then I got hit by a very heavy rock sa third eye ko
Okay.
na it knocked me unconscious. Ganun yung feeling ko. It knocked me unconscious and I woke up, I was already in a tunnel. Inside that long tunnel, may kasama akong tatlong lalaki. I couldn't see them clearly, but they yung silhouettes lang nila.
Yes.
One very tall figure and two medium na men. And then there was an old woman. So the old woman was more mas more visible yung features niya, but the
Okay.
three others hindi ko malaman. And then they took me at the end of the tunnel. And then at the end merong parang vault in a bank.
Okay.
And the tallest guy opened it, you know, na parang merong code. And then I was led inside a white rectangular room. Everything was rectangular white tables, rectangular white benches, rectangular glass windows, rectangular shelves. So everything was rectangular and white. So
Okay.
sabi ko, tinanong ko talaga, can I tell people about this experience? Sabi sa akin ng tall na being, yes, you can say this, you can share this, except for this. And then parang nakita ko yung image ng galaxy, and then parang nabura siya sa mind ko in that out-of-body experience.
Yes.
And then they led me towards the glass window. And sa labas nun, may mga blue beings. Yung color ng skin nila, alam mo yung when the sun hits the sea, yung mga sparkles.
Okay. Yes. Oo.
Ganun yung colors nila, but they were like humanoids. Tapos I asked this old woman, what is the color of my aura? Sabi niya, it's emerald green. It's the color of the heart chakra. And then I woke up. And I woke up from that astral travel. Hindi ko ma-lift yung ulo ko. Sobrang bigat, sobrang sakit dito where I got hit ng super heavy na rock. It took me 30 minutes.
For the listeners, sa noo, sa gitna ng noo, pinopoint ni Chris yung, yung mabigat. So, okay, wow. So, question, when you got to that place where you saw the blue beings, yung blue beings lang ang nakita mo. They did not communicate, they were just there, ganon?
No, they were just there. Na parang they were lining up, walking towards me.
Okay.
But not really. It's movement, parang ganon.
Oo. Wait, sorry. Meron ako note pala, hindi ko natanong kanina. Pero when you said na, when you are open to this and you start experiencing things, usually you start in a lower vibrational state, diba?
Yes.
And you said nga na you have to vibrate higher so that you will not experience the lower vibrational entities. Ito, question, huwag ka matatawa, pero baka kasi iba pagkaintindi ng mga ibang tao, different understanding for it. Pero what's your recommendation for a person to vibrate higher, in a higher frequency?
Okay. So I got lucky actually because when I started my path, remember the girl who lent me the tarot
Yes.
deck? I didn't know that she belonged to a coven. Meron silang parang mga spiritual group.
Yes.
So she introduced me to her three of her friends. And they kind of taught me the very basic of spirituality or of my practice. Kasi yung
Okay.
original practice ko talaga, it was the goddess, the connection to the goddess.
Yes.
So I asked my friend, kasi they were teaching me about witchcraft things, they were teaching me about spirituality, magic, rituals. So the witchcraft that they taught me, hindi yung, alam mo yung mga kulam, nothing of that sort, but more of like how to connect to the elements around you.
Yes. Oo.
Okay, like being knowledgeable with the four elements, which is the fire, air, water, and earth. So when I started talking to them, meeting them, getting to know them, I asked them, what's the difference between witchcraft and Wicca? Kasi Wicca is also like pagan religion that focuses on the goddess, okay, and and the seasons of the earth. So tinanong ko siya, what's the difference between Wicca and witchcraft? Sabi niya, witchcraft is working with the universe, but Wicca is working with the goddess and devotion to the goddess. And that's when I knew, I said, oh, that's more my path. Because I've always, siguro growing up, I felt na I wasn't introduced to this kind of beliefs that, di ba, most of the religions are patriarchal in nature.
Yes, yes.
And parang we were taught that we should fear God. God is gonna punish us if we do
Yes.
something bad. So
Old
there's
Testament
that
yan, Old
fear.
Testament.
You love God. Yes, Old Testament na you have to fear Him and not just love Him. But I just want to focus on the energy of love. And I found that in the goddess, the nurturing, caring energy, the protective mother who gives life to everything. So I said, this is gonna be my path. And since I found the path of the goddess, I started vibrating towards that energy. I learned how to protect myself. I learned how to ground myself. I learned how to cleanse my space. Like that's how it started. So if bago ka to this, you need to really align yourself with the energies and powers of the light. Parang don't allow or condition or being in that, don't allow yourself to stay in that state. Because spirituality is, after all, about empowering ourselves, getting to know our true selves. So I hope I answered your question.
I hope rin, yun nga, it comes across to others. Kasi yun nga, sometimes may makakuha akong questions rin na ganyan na they started, kasi maraming, hindi naman siguro super dami, pero I think there were a lot of people who started to awaken during the pandemic. And let's say, pandemic was what? 3 years ago. So, of course, up to now, siguro, meron pa rin silang experiences with lower vibration entities or spirits. So, ang nasasabi ko lang talaga is, try to be, sabihin ko, try to be a better person. Because that, for me, yun yung aking interpretation of vibrating in a higher frequency, is try to be a better person.
Yes.
Try to let go of anger, let go of fear, di ba? Na resentment, yes. Instead of sabihin mo na, itong taong to, may kasalanan sa akin, 5 years na, may kasalanan pa rin sa'yo, let go mo na. Wala ka na ng mga gawa, di ba? So parang, for me, yun nga, yun yung interpretation ko. And for me, what you said, it kind of translates to that. So I hope they listen. I hope they listen.
And also,
yes.
I notice, Nick, when I'm sick, I'm prone also to dark entities, mga attack ng dark entities.
Okay.
So it's very important to take good care of our physical vessel.
Yes.
Kasi pag nagkasakit talaga tayo, doon ako nagkaka-bad dreams, doon ako ina-attack ng mga dark yung mga dark entities, lower beings, malevolent spirits. And also I noticed before sleeping, kasi when we're sleeping, we're very vulnerable. So it's very important that we protect ourselves before we sleep. One of the ways that I do to protect myself from being attacked is that I do rituals. So I cleanse the room, I visualize the room na sobrang white yung light niya, na parang alam mo yun, na everything feels so purified, everything feels so light and I don't know, like comfortable. And then I also put like on a glass of water, I put lang yung bay leaf, yung
Okay.
laurel leaves.
Okay.
I put it inside the glass of water, and I place it underneath my bed,
Ah,
directly where I am sleeping or lying
okay.
down. And then normally when we go out, we really absorb a lot of negative energies. You know, we interact with people who probably had problems, you know, who's probably going through something difficult. So, naa-absorb natin lahat yan. So, when you arrive sa bahay mo, you need to cleanse yourself. So, I use salt water. So, you put coarse salt or rock salt, 3 handfuls in your bathing water at ipaligo mo yan para
Okay.
malinisan ka ulit.
Mm-mm.
Or you can put eucalyptus oil sa bathing water mo para mas strengthen ulit yung aura mo.
Okay. So you do that regularly? Salt bath. Nagsa-salt
Only
bath
when
ka?
I know I'm emotionally, spiritually drained. Only on those moments.
Okay, okay. So,
Yeah.
so when you're outside, is there a form of shielding that you do para hindi ma-absorb yung emotions ng
Okay.
iba?
Well, you know the tip of your tongue?
Okay.
Yung tip ng tongue mo, i-rest sa upper palate,
Okay.
sa taas.
Oo.
That automatically protects you from unnecessary negative energies.
Okay. I've heard that also from a practitioner. Hindi weekend practitioner, pero parang it came innate to him to do that also. To pag gusto niya kailangan yung protection yung tip ng tongue. Bakit kaya no? May maganda malaman ko yung root ng ano no. Kung saan nagagaling
So
yung
yeah,
oo.
maybe upper palate represents the upper dimensions, the higher
Oo.
dimensions.
Oo. Possible, no?
Yeah.
Kung ano yung physical, bakit may spiritual manifestation yung physical move na yun. Ito, magde-deviate ako, sorry, ng konti sa questions ko na sinend sa'yo. Being a mother na you have experienced these things, have you, you can choose not to answer this, pero with your children, do you see some of them being attuned or being spiritual and notice these things or wala naman? Yes.
Meron. Kasi my eldest, he used to see spirits, umiiyak yan, nagigising in the middle of the night, and he would start pointing sa ceiling, like, what's that? What's that? And he starts crying.
Yes.
And also my youngest, parang he has interest in stones. Parang pumupunta siya sa room ko where all my stuff or my magical things are.
Oo.
And he would touch the stones. He likes to play with my tarot decks. So parang I sense na they are also having this hello?
Hello, ayun. Unstable lang yung connection. Chris, sorry, papatay ko na lang yung video para baka hindi
Okay,
kumain.
sure.
Sorry.
Oh, sige. Sige.
Baka
No worries.
pinagbabawalan rin ako sa ano. sa question. Hindi, pero the reason I ask that is kasi I have had two times pa lang naman, maybe 2 times or mga 2 times pa lang, parents who ask me what they should do. Kasi, yun nga, meron isang nag-email before, hindi ko siya syempre papangalanan, na talagang full spectrum yung anak niya, nakikita. And siya wala siya na experience. So parang, yun nga, she was asking, oh, what can she do? What can they do as parents to, I mean, they believe their child is seeing seeing stuff, experiencing stuff, pero sila wala. So parang, may advice ka ba for them on how they could go about it na, yun nga, nakaka-experience yung anak?
Yes.
How would you encourage? How would you support? Ganun. Personal lang if you have any.
Normally, the way I see it, pag masyadong nakikita niya talaga na super vivid and everything, so masyadong hyperactive yung third eye. Okay?
Okay.
So because I'm a healer also, what I did is night, I would really give my children healing energy para to
Okay.
realign lang, rebalance chakras, you know. So
Okay.
I would recommend energy healing,
Okay.
like such as Reiki, and in my practice, I do galactic healing for that.
Okay. Can I ask, what is galactic healing?
Well, it's also a form of energy healing, but you're channeling or you're invoking cosmic energies,
Yes.
you know, in order to heal, in order to bring balance, harmony. It can heal depression, it can heal mental disorders, it can heal mga traumas.
Yes, oo.
So it's a very powerful healing modality.
Wow, okay yun ah. First time na na-encounter ko. Okay, since na-mention na natin ang galactic and cosmic, doon ako pupunta. Na-obvious ako ng mga listeners, pero doon ako pupunta. So, at what point in your journey did it start na you were able to communicate with, let's say, yun nga, yes, yung OBE mo kanina that you mentioned, I would consider it interdimensional or, galactic. Pero when did it start for you na you would start communication with extraterrestrials or let's say?
Extraterrestrials.
Oo.
Actually, 7 years ago, I was here in Siargao. I saw an image. It was really a very lucid out-of-body experience na I was half awake, half asleep. Nasa bed kami natutulog. And I saw old woman na naghahap sa bed namin. So I couldn't move. Normally, when you experience astral travel or out of body, that's the first manifestation. Parang
You
hindi
can't move.
hindi mo magalaw yung physical body. Yeah. So nag-hop siya and then tumalon siya doon sa edge ng kabilang side of the bed.
Okay.
So in my astral form, nilift ko, tiningnan ko kung sino siya. So when I saw, parang nakayong ko and she had a veil on her head.
Okay.
Tapos yung ginawa ko, humarap ako sa kanya, and then suddenly her face, she lifted her veil like that. Super ganda niya na babae.
Okay.
And at first glance, I thought, parang ano siya, parang, how do I call this? Parang Meso-American na
face.
babae.
Features,
na parang
oo.
ganun na features niya. And then suddenly, she was super strong. Pinush niya ako against the wall. And then, kumuha siya ng parang glass na gemstone shaped like a skull.
Okay.
And she placed it on my third eye.
Okay.
Tapos na-electrified talaga ako yung experience ko.
Oo.
Very electrifying. So, I woke up and I said, sino yun? I thought at the beginning, because of the crystal skull, I
Yes.
thought it was Mama Muerte. It was Santa Muerte.
Oo.
So I started learning about Santa Muerte. And then fast forward 7 years, just 2 years ago, I was in Spain na because we were in Spain during the pandemic.
Okay.
So when we were in Spain, I was asleep. And then suddenly I knew it wasn't real. My husband's voice was calling me, Chris. And then I couldn't move again. But I panicked.
Okay.
As in nagalaw ako, so nagising ako.
Oo.
Sabi ko, ano yung experience ko? And then again, I fell asleep and I went back again to that state. Na paglingon ko ng ganun, there was a very tall woman, pero very masculine yung features niya. And then on top of her head, parang dome.
Okay.
Na at that point, sabi ko, umbrella. Ba yun?
Naka-connect sa head niya,
And then
parang
I woke
ganun.
Naka-connect parang, alam mo yun, looming on top of her. Parang,
Okay.
parang carry siya ng umbrella.
Yes,
but it
yes.
looked like a hat.
Okay.
Parang ganon. So, lumingon ako, umalaw ako, and then, nagising uli ako, pero I was really afraid. Sabi ko, bakit hindi ako makagalaw? Ganon, hindi ako, parang, the feeling na lumalabas yung body mo from your soul, from your physical body. So, there's fear immediately. So, the following night, nag-pray ako. Sabi ko, please, parang, don't make this a scary experience for me. So, pagkatulog ko ng ganun, half awake, half asleep state, biglang may humawak sa nape ko, ganun yung sensation, na ayaw akong palingulin.
Okay.
They didn't want me to turn back.
Oo.
Parang gusto nila to see kung ano yung nasa harap ko.
Yes.
And I saw a mommy.
A
Pero
mommy?
a female na mommy-fied. Oo,
Yes.
female. And then at first, nagsastruggle ako. Sabi ko, this is scary. And then suddenly, a thought came to my head na chant, Inana. So I started chanting it.
Oo.
Inana. And then I started hearing parang people from a coliseum na they were chanting also, Inana.
Yes, oo.
And then the mommy figure turned into a beautiful goddess na nakahiga. Tapos yung in her breast, may mga tao at civilization.
Okay.
Ganun yung image na
Oo.
So I'm like, okay, Inana. So nakuha ko kaagad, na-realize ko kaagad, the mother of civilization and mother of humanity.
Okay.
And I said, okay, so I started Googling, I know Inanna, but not in a deeper level.
Yes.
So she's actually a Sumerian goddess of love, beauty, fertility, abundance, warfare,
Okay.
victory, and empowerment. So she's like a very powerful goddess and she's a skilled warrior.
Okay.
So I'm like, and that's when it opened, getting to know the goddess. It opened the doorway for me to get to know the Sumerian gods, the
Okay.
Sumerian deities.
Oo.
And doon ako nag-start na awaken to that consciousness
Yes.
na kasi she opened the door for me to this mysteries eh. Siya yung
Yes.
nagpakilala sa akin sa mga Anunnaki. She kind of initiated me. Ang dami kong astral travels, out of body experience na nangyari sa akin because of me worshiping her
Oo.
and considering her as my patron deity.
Oo. Wow. Okay. So, when you say na yung Sumerian pantheon, okay, ayoko i-feed yung theory ko kasi baka theory ko lang yun eh.
Okay.
Pero sino sila from your understanding? Who are these?
Well, okay. So based on Zechariah Sitchin,
Okay.
he's the author of this
Yes. Fingerprint of the
this
gods.
anatomy. Very famous siya. So based on my experiences and my research, they are higher beings. They were from the planet X or planet Nibiru. These higher beings, what happened was 450,000 years ago, may isang spaceship. The planet Nibiru, some say it's a planet, some
Okay.
say it's a spacecraft.
Yes.
They came into our solar system. Pumasok sila and nakarating sila sa Earth.
Okay.
And the reason why they were actually going around in space was because yung planet daw nila, the Nibiru, was deteriorating because yung ozone layer nila parang nagkaroon ng problema. And when they got to Earth, the first Anunnaki that got to Earth, they said was actually Enlil,
Yes.
the god of air. Okay. He's actually one of the most powerful gods in the Sumerian pantheon. So when he got here, he landed in the ocean. And at that time, the highest form of consciousness were the whales and the dolphins.
Okay.
So parang he got a channel from them, he got a message from them that Earth is rich in resources na makaka-help sa problem nila, sa kanilang ozone layer problem. And it turned out that that mineral is gold.
Okay.
Gold daw yun.
Yes. Oo.
So Enlil asked permission from this sentient beings na pwede bang mag-dig ako dito ng gold in order to help my planet. So yun, nagbigay permission yung mga whales and dolphins at that time. And then pinadala ng father nila na God of wisdom, the God of knowledge, the God of deep waters. So pagdating nila sa Earth, so we can set up parang home base nila. So their plan was to mine gold and every 3,600 years, idadalhin nila yung gold back to their planet because
Yes.
diba nag-orbit, bumabalik sila sa solar system natin every 3,600 years. So what happened was they started building this home base. And then they started mining the gold.
Okay.
But at that time, parang there were 200 Anunnakis who were mining. Parang 16 or 12 were higher in position. Was napagod sila.
Okay.
They said, why are we doing this? What we call the second, parang second level, parang
Yes.
second rate.
Okay.
Parang
Sorry, Chris, nagcha-choppy lang. Choppy yata sa akin.
So, where was I? Saan na part?
Yung sa point, bigla lang pumasok sa isip ko, Chris, ikaw, you would have the intuition. Baka ayaw pa kwento sa'yo? I mean, it is in the book. It is in the book.
Okay.
And, I mean, nasa ano nun. Pero,
No.
okay lang naman. Sige.
No.
Okay, sige. I think you were at the part na yung parang, so these were the second tier of,
I think part of my... I'm sorry, that was the...
yung parang second tier, yung inutusan na mag-mine.
Ne?
May lag lang yata.
Okay. But also the Igigi started to revolt.
Okay.
Hello?
Yes, I'm still here.
So the Igigis also revolted against the Anunnaki because with an idea that why don't we create a worker race? Para they will be the one to dig gold for us. So he suggested that they were gonna mix their DNA together with the primates during that time, yung sa mga monkeys,
Yes, oo.
parang minix nila yung DNA with them to come up with Adamu or the perfect man.
Okay.
That's why the word Adam came from Adam and Eve. But really, in Sumerian na history, it's Adamu.
Okay.
So what happened was, yun, gumawa sila ng workers. But Enlil, the older brother, has always been against the idea because he doesn't want to manipulate their okay with that concept. But Enki was given permission together with Ninursag or Ninma, who is also a goddess, an Anunnaki geneticist and scientist.
Okay.
That's why they created the Garden of Eden. That's why the Garden of Eden, they said, was more of a laboratory. It was a garden, but actually it was a laboratory. And it was also like parang home base kung saan nila nilalagay yung mga gold kasi they were mining in Africa. They were mining, yeah, they were mining in the Indus Valley. So and they were mining in and Mesopotamia was so, saan din nila nilalagay yung mga golds.
Okay.
That's why when you Google where is the Garden of Eden located, it's really sad sa internet. It's really in Mesopotamia. Enlil didn't like it because I think he got angry because yung humans na so they said that's why he sent because he wanted to really tanggalin yung humanity
Okay.
or this group of humans na ginawa ni Enki. But Enki is so wise na instead he created two kinds of humans. Humans who cannot procreate and humans who can procreate. So yung
Okay.
ginawa niya is he knew that he created us in order for him to build an army to also protect us from the anger of Enlil, his older brother. So yun yung nangyari. Parang we were created for that. And Enki was actually the one who taught Noah how to build the ark para may masave na humanity when in case of the great flood will come na yun nga na gagawin nga ni Enlil to put an end to the existence of the Adamus.
Yes, oo. May question ako. So, hindi ko alam, again, this will be a this will be a stupid question. Pero
No, it's okay.
with your experience with the Anunnakis na nakako-communicate mo, do they relay the same story or is there a different story that we do not know about?
Actually, I know that there's always been conflict and factions within the Anunnaki.
Okay.
So there's the group of Enlil, there's a group of Enki. Enki is with Inanna based on my out-of-body experiences. They're really kasi Inanna, I had this another out-of-body experience na I was actually walking with iguanas, different kinds of reptilian creatures in a barren land. Tapos they were telling
Okay.
me, should we send you back na? And then parang they communicated with me not through talking, but more mental telepathy.
Yes,
And then
we
they
thought,
said like,
oo.
no, you still have to share something before we send you back. Ganun yung sinabi nila sa akin. And after that, that's when the Inana invocation, yung Inana, Inana, Inana chanting happened. So I have the feeling that maybe in my past life before, I was an important priestess of the goddess Inanna, that through my activation, she will come to life. And Inanna is very
Okay.
important sa ganitong war that's happening because she's the goddess of warfare. She's a skilled,
Yes.
she's a skilled warrior, and she's a goddess of war and victory. So I think Inanna played an important role in
Before, oo.
winning the faction, yeah, the faction or the war. And I believe now it's still ongoing. Kasi sabi nila,
Okay.
Eng and Lil, kasi there was a war and then it ended. And then it happened again. They said Enlil actually went to Jerusalem and he became Yahweh.
Okay.
That's why yung Old Testament God is always about war. And Enlil is indeed is a god of war. And actually Enki, they said Enki went to Egypt and he became Thoth, who is the god of knowledge.
Mm,
Yeah.
okay.
And it's interesting because Thoth, who is identified, his teachings is identified with Christ's teachings. So parang,
Yes.
like it's all about love. It's all about, like divine knowledge. And while Enlil, Yahweh, is all about like wars and, taking over lands.
Have you read yung books ni Fifth Kind? Merong YouTube, The Fifth Kind.
Mm.
Tapos, Paul Wallace. Paul Wallace yung name niya.
Okay.
And ano siya, deacon yata siya before.
Oh.
And nag-work siya for the RCC before, I think. Tapos, he would teach about the scriptures sa Bible. And then eventually, he started to realize na, wait, parang may mali. Tapos dun siya nag-start na mag-research siya and yun nga, lumalabas yung kagaya, Old Testament God is not God. Ang ang direct interpretation ng hindi si Yahweh, ano yung isa pang word for God sa Old Testament?
Yod-Hivauhe.
Ano yun? Nakalimutan. Naku, wala yung kodigo ko dito eh.
Oh.
Pero, magagalit sa akin si Paul Wallace. Pero, ano siya? Hindi Yahweh. Elohim. Yun yung word na hinahanap ko. Yung word na yon is not God. If we translate it properly, it is powerful ones.
Okay.
So it is plural.
Elohim?
Elohim.
Yeah.
Correct. Elohim, Elohim. So it is not God.
It's a group of, powerful beings. Yeah.
Oo, a group. And then, ang Yahweh, sabi niya, ito yung theory and research ni Paul Wallace. It is how you pronounce it. So parang, ang pagka-pronounce daw sa kanya before, guttural, Yahweh.
Yeah.
Yahweh.
Yeah.
So, parang theory niya, reptilian or of reptile nature.
Actually, they are reptilian beings talaga.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, but there are good reptilians. There are malevolent
Yes, oo.
reptilians. Yeah.
So sabi niya, yun yung pagka-pronounce kasi kay Yahweh. Yahweh. Pero kasi reptilian in nature. So ang Anunnaki, in terms of itsura, based on your experience,
Yeah, they are reptilians. Yeah.
reptilians, okay.
Sa say naman, meron din silang human form daw. Like, they tower. Sobrang tangkad nila, sobrang tall. They're really giants. And then some say na
Okay.
meron silang LC behind them where parang yun yung technology nila. They can fly. That's why they said
Yes.
na, in a way, they're also angels. Kasi yung light beings sa sinabi mong Elohim, the burning
Powerful ones.
the burning ones are actually called seraphim. They are angels na
Okay.
may 6 wings and they're very powerful. So they're called seraphim, but at the same time,
Okay.
the meaning of the word seraphim is the burning ones. Because they're shining so bright na mabubulag ka talaga sa kanila when they show their true form.
Sorry, mababalik ako sa Anunnaki and Reptilians. So, isang na-mention sa akin ng ating friend si Kristoffer.
Yeah.
Sabi niya, you have had experiences with reptilians here on Earth. Parang ganon. Ano yung experiences na... So, baka you can explain lang kung ano yung... Kasi, okay, before you tell that, kasi syempre, from my experience with people who have had experiences with reptilians, usually sinasabi nila, evil ang reptilians. Yun palagi. Pero I've heard stories, not from here, not my interviews, pero research on stories about reptilians. Meron nagkwento na parang tao lang naman sila na may masama, may mabuti.
Correct.
Pero parang in their nature kasi talaga na aggressive. Pero yun nga. So, with your experience with reptilians, ano yung, ayun, sige.
Meron ako experience with the malevolent ones talaga na parang they would
Okay.
prey on you, especially if they see that you're parang spreading awareness, when it
Okay.
comes to these things. So I got
Okay.
attacked many times. Like natutulog ako, half awake, half asleep state. Yung iba parang itatouch nila yung hair mo, tapos magwi-whisper sila sa'yo ng mga, alam mo yun, things that will really parang freak you out. Parang that's their goal to make you afraid. Parang, kasi fear talaga, that's the lowest frequency. So they want to keep you in a low vibration because they feed on that energy.
Okay.
Okay?
Oo.
And meron din akong isang out-of-body experience na nakita ko talaga like there was a hole, ang daming doorways, and then lumabas yung mga higante na when they walk, talagang nag-shake talaga yung lupa. So that time, I realized
Yes.
they're back. They're back here. Because I also did
Okay.
research and I saw na yung Anunnaki daw will come back to Earth nung 2022.
Okay.
So, yeah. So, ngayon, I believe, yung mga benevolent na mga reptilians, yung mga good ones, they're going to every sacred sites kasi parang nire-rebuild nila. Kasi katulad ng mga Egyptian pyramids, it's energy eh. It's not just a landmark or anything. Parang may energy yun. Nakaka-time travel sila through those sacred sites at saka yeah.
Actually, kailangan ko double check sa notes ko. Pero so I've talked to this person na he had, ang title ng episode is Intergalactic Dreams. When his mom died, super close siya. And then, when his mom died, nakakabisita mom niya sa dreams. Tapos pag nag-uusap sila ng mom niya, nasa ship sila. As in, nasa spaceship sila. And sabi ng mom niya, may war lang. Di mo na kita meet for a few months, may war lang.
Yes.
So, makes sense kung, ayun nga. So, baka kaya, ayun, may mga nakausap rin ako na hindi naman talaga sila in communication with extraterrestrials, but one person in Baguio has seen a reptilian in Baguio.
Yeah.
May nakita siyang reptilian na parang nagulat siya.
Wow. Okay.
Anyway, pero sa'yo naman, again, si Kristoffer nagsabi sa akin, ETs in Bacolod daw. You have had experiences with...
Yung
Can you tell us
reptilian?
about that?
Yeah.
Reptilian ba yun sa Bacolod? Okay.
Actually, I see them mostly in my dream state or astral travel.
Okay, oo. So, what was the experience?
When it comes to malevolent reptilians, naalala ko rin I had an astral travel that I was like in a hearing. Tapos yung mga leaders ng country, I think at that time, nagmi-meeting sila and I got a channel na they know what's happening because whatever war na nag-happen sa spiritual plane, nangyayari din sa material or earthly plane. That's why yung axiom ng Hermetics na as above, so below, as in true. Kasi
Yes.
anything that happens in the upper dimensions is reflected in the lower worlds. So yun yung parang their goal is to really stop us from evolving, from waking up to our true potential.
Yes, so what about yung UFO experiences naman? Have you had physical experiences with UFOs or mostly okay?
I had an experience also. One of my activation with Inana, she introduced me to the goddess of knowledge and remembrance, who is Nisaba. So, nung isa sa mga experience ko, as in may spaceship talaga, natutulog ako First, I saw parang water, parang flowing water. At nalasahan ko talaga the taste and everything. And then suddenly, there was a spacecraft na bumaba. Tapos may humanoid beings na talagang inoperahan yung head ko.
Okay.
Parang, siguro parang fine-tune or parang tinaas
Yes, oo.
yung frequency. Naramdaman ko talaga. And after that, again, I couldn't move my head for like 30 minutes. Parang nakadaan ka talaga ng surgery.
Oo. Oo.
Oo, ganun talaga
Grabe.
yung feeling.
Ano yung itsura nung sabi mo humanoid eh? Ano yung, kasi the reason I ask ka, kasi may follow-up questions pa ako dyan, pero the reason I ask kasi pag may nakakausap akong may experiences with extraterrestrials, tinatry kong alamin ano yung mga iba't ibang klaseng extraterrestrial na nag-visit sa Earth or nag-experience sa Earth.
The kinds. I actually saw before while meditating sa rooftop namin, parang hindi grasshopper, like praying mantis, parang ganun. May kind na,
Yes, oo.
I don't know the name, but
Yes.
parang praying mantis sila na form. And there's another one also, yung humanoid na parang wala silang damit, but wala silang sexual organs.
Genitals, oo.
Just a
Oo.
body. Tapos yung skin nila very, very white, yung parang paper white. And they're bald.
Okay.
And then, I'm thinking also, okay, nakita ko rin in their reptilian forms, yung mga dinosaurs, yung mga birds ng dinosaurs, parang ganun din yung kanilang mga shapes and yung itsura nila.
Pero humanoid body or body na dinosaur talaga?
Dinosaur talaga, may different kinds. They look different from each other. Parang nung pumunta nga ako meron akong out-of-body experience with Hecate. Hecate,
Oh yes,
yeah,
oo.
I realized she's really an alien too. Kasi nung nag-out-of-body experience ako, parang pumasok ako sa isang hallway and then parang may naglinis sa akin na robot, na parang nilinisan ako, na parang you cannot face her unless you're clean. Parang ganon.
Okay, oo.
And then, dinala ako sa isang room, and then Hecate talaga looked like an alien. Alam mo yung parang sa mga predators na gano'n? Like, gano'n talaga yung itsura niya. And you're not allowed to look at her directly. Parang you have to, parang yung eyes mo nakatutok sa floor. Yeah.
Bakit ganun? Parang ano naman, iba yung interaction, no? Parang iba yung...
Maybe because their frequency is so high na hindi pa natin ma-comprehend. Maybe hindi natin ma-take. Parang ganun yung experience ko.
Ano yung communication nyo? If you can say it. Kung hindi, okay lang naman.
It wasn't a communication, but more like she showed me her face. Yung kanyang.
Okay.
And,
Yes,
and
oo.
when it comes naman to angels, normally, makikita mo sila parang tao, pero hindi clear. Pero tall.
Okay.
Yung silhouette nila. They will never show their true form. But lately, I've been doing rituals, yung Enochian ritual. Parang it's like a ritual na parang it's very comprehensive, na parang you can communicate actually with angels. Parang nakikita mo sila in a form na different, like with sigils and everything, yung mga wings nila made of leaves or depends what elements they belong in. So, nakakatuwa lang to see all of these things. I just wanted to share.
Oo. So, biglang sinabi mo may elements rin ng angel. So, are they bound by... So, parang bound sila by the elements of our planet? Meaning, parang elementals rin sila in a way? Kasi sabi mo merong...
There are different hierarchies. There are different hierarchies eh. May angel
Okay.
na of the stars, may angels of the earth, angels of water, fire. There are angels naman na sobrang high, the seraphims, principalities. You know, like it's very yung may hierarchy talaga sila.
Complicated din pala. Akala ko parang...
Yeah.
Oo. So, mostly your experiences would be in the astral realm, meaning sa OBE.
Yeah.
Pag sa physical realm, like now you're awake, ano yung experiences mo when you're, let's say, when you're awake, when you're...
Yeah, astral talaga.
Question, ano pa yung, kasi curious ako sa, again, this is one of my usual questions for people who have sensitivities, tapos nasa ibang bansa kayo. Aside from the one that you mentioned sa Spain, Meron ka pa ba ibang experience sa Spain
If
na weird or unusual?
Sa mga experience ko, okay. So this is during my Anunnaki na mga
Ayan, nag-glitch na naman ang connection. Napansin niyo rin ba? Anyway, tuwing Anunnaki ang pag-uusapan, parang may glitch. Or nahihirapan siya magsalita. Well, siguro pwede rin naman sa connection. Hindi na lang. Balik tayo nung nag-connect na ulit si Chris.
mga research. Parang it was a very lucid dream, pero I felt na talaga nag-travel ako. Parang nasa loob ako ng mall, but the mall was empty.
Okay.
And then, meron siyang glass window, sobrang laki, parang glass door, glass window. Tapos nakita ko yung mountain na super white, parang parang nasa Antarctica, parang ganon. So I said, pag wake up ko, normally when you get these dreams, pag wake up mo, alam mo yung meaning ng dream immediately. So I said, maybe, kasi I know you've heard of the Watchers.
Yeah, heard of lang, oo.
Okay, so I knew that the Anunnaki and the Watchers are the same, are one. The Watchers,
Okay.
sila yung mga angels who were tasked to guard the earth. And I think they fell in love with women, human women.
Yes.
And they started teaching them astrology. They started teaching them how to forge metals. They taught them divine knowledge. But because sabi nila, the God who was Enlil, of course Yahweh, didn't want to share those. So parang pinunish sila for teaching us this sacred knowledge. So it's
Yes.
said that they were imprisoned. Tinago daw sila at the deepest part of the earth. And babalik sila, redeem themselves,
Okay.
and show humanity na something na they've always been acting at our best interest. Parang something like that.
Yes, oo.
So I went up, I said, the mountain, maybe that's where they were imprisoned. Ganun yung pumasok sa mind. So I started researching, and when I typed in Google, sabi ko, saan na-imprison yung mga the Watchers? And then it said, they were imprisoned in the valleys of the earth. And they will only be saved upon judgment day, on judgment day. Ganun yung sinabi. So nag-research ako, valleys of the earth, and then
Oh, di ba? Ayan na naman. Okay, balik tayo.
Antarctica, because I saw na head to mine. There's a mountain, and it's called Erebus, Mount Erebus.
Erebus, oh.
And it's actually nasa loob siya ng series of rift valleys between East and West Antarctica. So sabi ko, what if they in prison? And then so yung leader ng the Watchers is actually called Samyaza. And the leader of the Sumerian who was teaching us this knowledge was Enki. So ano ko talaga yung kanilang connection. I was able to identify. Can we pause?
Yes. Chris, alam mo, pag Anunnaki ang kinukwento mo, sobrang nagiging choppy.
Yeah, because I think
ako lang
the
yan,
other faction doesn't want me to share
Yes.
this.
This is just my observation. Pero every time pag didiscuss ka niyan, biglang, kasi pag iba naman dinidiscuss mo, hindi choppy eh. Hindi choppy.
Yeah.
Pero pag yan ang didiscuss mo, talaga mag-break apart. Tapos mahirapan ka magsalita. Napansin ko lang. So sige na nga.
Napi-feel ko din.
Na-feel mo rin, okay.
Parang there's someone stopping me from speaking.
Oo. Kasi ang weird kasi pag iba yung topics natin, yung signal is
Okay lang.
walang interruption, pero pag bigla ka mag-Anunnaki na talaga nagcha-choppy na sa akin. So parang okay, sige. Ayun na lang. I-encourage ko na lang yung iba na if you want to know more, again, do your research sa Anunnaki. And yan, right now, medyo marami na naman, I hope. So at least ma-realize nila. Pero sige, for your health, kasi parang talagang nawawalan ka ng
na ba na okay?
Parang hirapan ka magsalita eh. Na-worry ako for you na yun nga. Pero sige. Okay, no more Anunnaki questions.
No, but before we end this station,
Yes.
this section of the Anunnaki, I just want to say that I believe that the Anunnakis, they were imprisoned in Antarctica. Sabi nila, Antarctica daw, merong mountain dyan, Mount Erebus, and at the bottom of that is actually the core of the Earth, very core. Have you heard of Inner Earth? Na meron daw civilization
Yes, Inner Earth,
inside.
Agartha. Yes, oo.
And that can be accessed. Actually, the core of the Earth is actually the Garden of Eden. So it can be accessed through caves or through mountains. So I believe that Enki, Semyaza, or Osiris, they're all one based on my research. They actually live there. And meron si Enki sinabi na before na he will awaken his children and they will come from the center of the earth. Parang ganon. So he will come back to awaken his children to their true nature.
Have you had experiences sa Inner Earth, sa Agartha?
Yes, actually, I was shown yung Inner Earth. It actually looked like parang golden city siya. Yan yung nakita ko from my vision. It's actually during the Enochian ritual that I was shown the Inner Earth. Ano talaga siya? Like may mga spacecraft na nag-hover on top of it. Alam mo yung parang alam mo yung sa mga scientific movie na parang the Earth
Yes.
like 400 years after. Parang ganun talaga yung image.
Oo.
Everything is made of gold. Which for
Okay.
me,
Gold talaga, gold. Oo.
talagang tama siya. Because Anunnaki is always about gold. Yeah.
Kasi parang yun nga may point yung isang may research ko kwento ko lang Chris may isang research na sinabi research parang nag-delve siya into all of this and sabi niya if you look into it bakit napaka-precious for us ng gold up till now it is parang a measure of wealth, 'di ba? But if you think about it hindi naman siya ganun ka-valuable. Economic wise. Pero bakit ganun? Kasi sabi niya kasi na-ingrain na sa atin, nasa history natin, nasa untold history natin na it was valuable for the Anunnaki.
Yes.
And yun nga, and up till now, it is a form of wealth, di ba? So yun yung sinasabi niya. Pero yun nga, very interesting na gold yung nakikita mo. Tapos, pero when you saw that, you've been there parang, vision-wise, you've seen it once, twice, or a little more?
I've seen it many times, pero different, umiiba.
Okay, paano?
May times na water siya, na yung lalakaran mo, yung floor niya, alam mo yung parang Lemurian clear quartz. Parang ganun yung floor. Parang ganun yung kanyang image. Iiba, iba-iba. Pero you would know talaga na you wake up, you know, that's the Garden of Eden. That's Lemuria. That's the place of Enki.
Oo. Are you familiar with yung place na sinasabi yung Beringan?
Yeah. Kristoffer actually told me about it.
Okay. Oo. Kasi parang theory ko to. Theory ko to, kiniklear ko lang sa mga nakikinig. Na part of Inner Earth, yung ancient civilizations na nagtatago. So parang ang theory ko is part of Inner Earth yun.
Yeah.
Na you can access it
From anywhere else in the world.
Oo, merong portals to access it. Pero hindi siya open to all. Meron pa rin guards and So very interesting lang. Chris, sorry, naka 1 hour na tayo. So nahiya naman ako sa'yo and lunchtime na. Can you tell us about your current practice now?
Okay.
And where people can reach you?
You mean my spiritual path? Actually,
Yes, your spiritual practice.
I've delved into Wicca, witchcraft. I've delved into shamanism, and lately, yun nga yung Enochian magic. But now I feel drawn towards Gnosticism, which is still connected.
Okay.
Because Sophia, one of the emanations of God, the goddess of wisdom, she actually got pregnant and she gave birth to parang a dragon or a malevolent entity. They call it the demiurge, something like that.
Demiurge, oo.
And then they said that the earth is actually created by this evil being. And only through gnosis or knowledge that we can break free from that lower dimension or lower vibration or entity. And we can actually discover our true light and potential. So parang in a way, parang very connected pa rin siya from where I started.
Yes.
So what I do now, I still do meditation because meditating at night really helps you travel to the astral fast, especially if nasa point ka na antok ka pero hindi ka pa makatulog. That's a very powerful state of consciousness. So yan yung style ko. Parang I meditate and then also I read or I learn something before I sleep. Kasi once you're learning something, pag natulog ka, parang it's like the gods are saying na, wow, you're worthy to experience it because you really are, like you're really made this magic or this, this mystical experience. Parang yan yung nanonotice ko, nati-trigger ako, nagkakaroon ako ng activations, astral and lucid dreaming every time I study or meditate before sleeping.
Okay. Pero personally right now, ano yung, you mentioned that you do healing, parang ganun.
Yeah. So I'm a tarot reader.
Okay.
Yeah, I also
Yes.
channel higher beings, angels. I also channel the dead.
Okay.
So in a way, example, may parents ka na namatay, and then parang gusto mong malaman anong message nila sa'yo, or you felt like you didn't express to them how much you loved them when they were still, alam mo kung may mga unfinished business.
Yes. Oo.
Or message na hindi nila narinig before messages para magkaroon ng peace of mind and proper healing. And of course, I still worship and venerate the goddess.
Si Inana. Tama.
Inana, and now I'm also I discovered Barbelo. She is like the highest goddess in Gnosticism. And she's like the mother of all gods. Parang she's the wife of God, Barbelo. She's also known as Asherah, also known as, the Virgin Mother.
Yes. Alam mo, sisingit ko lang. Again, I was reading, you should, isasend ko sa'yo yung links kay Paul Wallace.
Okay.
So I've been reading his books. Yung third book niya, he was discussing about Asherah. And sabi niya, meron talagang ginawa sa church that they hid Asherah from the old scriptures. Kasi nasa old scriptures siya. If you go back to the old scriptures, Asherah is mentioned. Pero as it progressed, maging mas male-centric, si God lalaki lang.
Yeah.
Hindi na na-discuss si Asherah, pero Asherah was part of the scriptures before. And yun nga, nagkaroon ng erasure. So very interesting to hear that.
Kasi ever since naman our civilization started, it's always been matriarchal, our society.
Yes.
Even yung belief system natin has always been yung mga drawing sa caves, yung goddess talaga yung painting malalaki, matataas, and then the rest middle, like normal size. Even in Gnosticism, the sign of the cross nila is Nous, Christos, Sophia, Pisces, Amen. So Sophia is always there, the female aspect of God. Sabi nga daw nila before, ang iba rin pag nag-pray or mag-make ng sign of the cross in the name of the Father, the Mother, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Ngayon, Father, Son, Holy Spirit. And then the Spirit has to be touched twice the shoulder. Bakit ganon?
Yes. Oo.
Di ba? It doesn't...
Oo nga, no?
Right?
Oo nga, no? Apat, no?
Apat.
Oo nga, no? Oo. Well, alam naman natin. Ayoko na mag-comment, magagalit ang mga Anyway, sige. Pero thank you. Chris, baka you can invite them to where they can reach you.
Okay. I actually have an Instagram account. It's Sacred Space Tarot. So the tarot is TAROT. It's a silent T at the end. So Sacred Space Tarot. That's where I do my healing readings. I do online. And then I'm also based in Siargao now. So I'll be opening also a shop in Siargao. So if you happen to visit the island, I'll be opening next month Stay Siargao. It's gonna be a tarot studio, healing studio, and esoteric shop. So I also do my healing reading in my home in Siargao. So
Okay.
meron akong online at saka personal na mga sessions.
Ayun. Chris, thank you. Pasensya na talaga.
Thank you.
Apologies for my being late. Pero thank you. Ayun.
It's okay.
Baka wala na namang Anunnaki dyan. Magbubukas na akong camera. Peace. Peace tayo, Anunnakis. Feeling ko may galit sila eh.
No, we're divinely protected naman. We're divinely protected.
Mukhang maraming pero pansin ko talaga, when you talk about them, yun parang nawawalan, yung parang nahihirapan ka magsalita, I guess. Tapos parang
Yeah.
nag-choppy talaga. So parang,
Umuubo.
what are the chances? What are the chances talaga? Nakakatawa lang. Pero I guess, oo. Baka not meant to be pa at this time. Let's see.
I believe like it's meant to be shared. I believe it's time.
Yes. Oo, ako personally parang I want more people to hear. Kasi yun yung kahit psychics who can see things with their eyes, who can experience other things with other realms, hindi sila maniwala sa extraterrestrials. They believe spirits, they can see kapre, nakikita nila duwende, naniniwala sila. Pero pag ano nila. Yes, sabihin mo, Chris.
I have something like very important na natutunan ko in my practice.
Yes, go.
They said if you start seeing these beings in a physical reality, you need to ground yourself because these spirits, they cannot be in the physical world kasi their form belongs in a higher dimension and in a higher plane.
Okay.
So when you see them na talagang nakikita mo talaga naglalakad sila together with you,
Oo.
you have to really ground yourself.
Okay. Actually, baka you can add something to that. So parang, yung ibang practitioners, kasi we have a Discord channel, yung ibang practitioners doon, they would always tell the beginners, the young ones who have started to practice spirituality in different forms, sabi nila, yung important things, grounding, shielding,
Grounding.
may mirroring pa. Pero very important daw talaga for sensitives is to ground, no? Meron ka bang tip on how to do that?
Well, one of the things I do is uupo ka sa floor, tapos yung two legs mo angat, pero yung feet mo planted
Okay.
on the floor. And same
Okay.
as your hands. Okay?
Hands,
So,
okay.
and then visualize all your excess energies bumababa. Tapos sa bottom of the earth, may sacred fire na sinusunog at tinatransmute yung yung excess energy. Excess energy. Okay?
Excess
Kasi
energy.
it's
Okay.
normal for spiritual workers na when we get astral travel, when we do lucid dreamings, di ba parang, wow, nadidistract ka from your current reality. So, hindi ka pwedeng pumunta sa ganun kasi pwede kang, alam mo yun, yung parang nandun ka lang, nakalipad ka, pero you're not really
Oo,
grounded.
lutang. Oo, lutang.
Your feet are not stable. So, we still belong in the earth plane,
Yes.
in the physical dimension. So, kailangan, nandito pa rin tayo. So, that's one of the things. Or visualize yourself as a tree. Tapos yung sa body mo, may mga roots na lumalabas.
Roots.
Ina-anchor ka doon sa pinaka-bottom ng earth.
Yes. Ayan, magandang tip. Makinig kayo dyan, ha? Kasi maraming, naririnig ko yung palagi na, yung iba lutang, parang masyado na silang na-immerse sa spiritual realm, na parang,
Yes.
like you said, we are here in the physical world. Kailangan mo pa rin ground sarili mo. And again, it helps the balance, no? Parang nababalance ka na.
Yes, that's the keyword, balance.
May katawang tao ka pa rin.
Yes.
Yes, oo. Thank you, Chris. Sorry I took so much of your time, and sorry.
No, it's okay. It was a pleasure.
Same here. Thank you.
Thank
Thank you.
you.
Kristoffer, salamat rin.
Thank you, Chris, for connecting us.
Thank you. Chris, thank you again for agreeing to be interviewed given your tight schedule. Hindi ko alam kung anong pambubudol ang ginawa ni Kristoffer. Pero thank you again for giving the time. Thank you also to Kristoffer, who connected us. If you're interested in getting in touch with Chris, you can find her on Instagram, Sacred Space Tarot. I'll put her info and links in the show notes. You could say that we just had spotty internet connection. You could say that Chris wasn't used to talking for that long, to the point that she would get parched while speaking. I'm not sure if you noticed that. But as I was editing this, I just felt that these were not just coincidences. Given the fact that when I was talking to another guest, maybe a month before this current recording, as we were talking about the Anunnaki, I felt a flick on my shin at the moment that I kept asking about the Anunnaki. So ayun, bahala na si Anu. Pag mga ET talaga, parang kaya non-stop pag-usapan. Pero anyway, if this is the first episode you're listening to, you might want to subscribe and check our back issues, as the past episodes of other conversations about the strange, weird, and the paranormal. In case this is your first time listening, the Paranormal Podcast is a collection of first-hand experiences from people with paranormal encounters. If you have experiences with the Anunnaki or ET races that you'd like to share, you can email me at paranormalsph@gmail.com or message me on the Paranormal Podcast Discord server, where you can also share your experiences there anonymously if you prefer it that way. You can find the podcast on Spotify, Facebook, YouTube, Apple Podcast, Twitter X, and TikTok. New episodes every Tuesday 7 p.m. on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and wherever you get your podcasts. And Thursdays 1:37 p.m. on YouTube. We are skipping episode comments this week. Probably next week we can continue that. But for this week, before we end, I'd like to give a large and big thank you to our paranormal Patreons and coffee supporters. Thank you, Christine, Mark, Hotaru, Aryan, Fallen, Leia, Laura, JRS, Emrys, Kay, Kent, Biker Mama, J3, Justine, Janelle, Jevelyn, and Leslie. Thank you to our Patreon and coffee supporters. A big shout out also to Mikey_0 for the tweet encouraging others to listen to the podcast and to join the Discord server. So thank you, Zankanotachi, in yung kanyang ano. Pero thank you for the recruitment. Plus 10 points, pwede ka na maging silver medalist sa ating referral program. The Paranormal Podcast is engineered and produced by F90 Productions. If you can take the time to rate or review the podcast in whatever podcast platform you are using, I would greatly appreciate it. Again, the more people we reach, the more minds we open. Before we end, napapag-isip ako kasi recently I've been sketching and for a project related to the podcast. And naisip ko, what if para magkaroon ng parang sa mga nagdo-drawing dyan, familiar sa Inktober. So Inktober, it is nagka-scandal yun eh. Pero it was a very good exercise in practicing your creativity, di ba? So I was thinking maybe this October we can try something for the community, sa mga nagdo-draw lang, hindi naman kailangan sumali lahat, sa mga interested lang. Parang in-name natin Just Go Hit. So it's something for you to draw from items that inspired you to. Pero syempre parang ano tayo, Philippine mythology, Philippine spirits based, or again, if nasa ibang bansa kayo, kung ano yung mga nakikita nyo, it's an open thing. I'll make up prompts, tapos i-share ko sa Discord and sa Facebook, sa Twitter. And up to you if you want to share. So parang exercise lang. Kasi gagawin ko na rin naman. So parang, baka gusto nyo makijoin. So watch out for that. Sometime by end of September, I'll launch the prompts for Just Go Hit October. Okay. Thank you again for everyone who listened. Thank you to the people who share their stories, and thank you to the Anunnaki who helped make this episode very, very interesting. Please stay safe. Hello, Latak listeners! Loyal listeners. So, usapang ET na naman ito. Kung nasobrahan ka na, pwede ka na mag-skip kasi naalala ko may nag-comment sa Spotify na may mga usapan nagsimula sa multo, nag-ending sa ET. Anyway, nanote ko lang kasi dun sa kwento ni Chris, meron siyang experience or dream na parang inooperahan siya ng mga ET sa ulo niya. Parang gano'n, or may ginagalaw sa ulo niya. Naalala ko lang, nasabi niya, possible na yun rin yung nag-trigger sa kanyang sensitivity or widening of her senses, kumbaga. So, naalala ko, meron kasi sa Sumerian creation myths na may ginawang workers ang gods, di ba? So, parang kung babalikan niyo yun, parang sa pagkakaalala ko, parang tayo yung third iteration. Yung root race natin, kumbaga, third iteration ng creation nga. And sa root race na yun, sa second generation, may parang, ayoko tong nagawa natin to. So, ang ginawa nila sa third generation ng creation nila, so parang binabaan yung consciousness natin sa mundong hindi nakikita. Sa isang nabasa ko rin, nakasulat na, we were downgraded so our senses would not be able to see much of the world outside of the material plane. So, parang merong setting, may setting sa utak natin, may setting sa genes natin na nakasara yun, parang ganon. So what if, genetically nga, yun ang nangyari and meron lang parang on and off switch na kailangan activate para mas maging aware ka sa unseen world. And baka yung ET friends ni Chris, sabi sa kanya, buksan na natin. Parang ganon. Ako lang yan, Probably nung in-upgrade siya, they were activating that gene for her to perceive and see the other dimensions. Although napaisip ako, bakit yung ibang tao naka-turn on na? Due to time kaya. Naisip ko lang, because of genetics, because of evolution, throughout those millions of years of us being downgraded, may iba, bumabalik yung activity na yun. Meaning yung gene na yun nabubuhay ulit. Yung X gene, para X-Men pala. Alien! Sige, yun na lang muna. Masyado ako maraming inisip na ganyan. Pero if may experiences ka dyan, na parang yun nga, parang, alam ko meron listeners. Nagsasabi sila, ayaw lang nila mag-broadcast. Pero kung meron pa dyan, na meron ganun experience na parang feel, naalala, may memory kayo, or sabihin mong may dream kayo, na inaoperahan kayo ng parang ETs, or may ginagalaw, may kinakalikot sa inyo, feel free to get in touch. Kahit di na natin broadcast yung experience. Personally, curious lang ko sa mga naka-experience ng abduction or consultation with otherworldly entities. So, email nyo ako, Discord nyo ako, kayo bahala. Ayun. Okay, ingat.